Hello, welcome again to another episode of the Fisheries Insight podcast. In this episode, I am going to talk about two topics, and they are very dear to my heart. One is fishing for endangered, threatened, and protected species. That is when you look at the Fisheries and Aquaculture Act, 2025 Act 1146. Um, the section 45 talks about fishing for endangered, threatened, and protected species. Then when you come to the next section, which is 46, it talks about the protection of gravid and juvenile lobsters and other juvenile fish. I'll read. Um, so 45, which talks about the endangered species. The clause 1 says a person shall not fish for endangered, threatened, or protected species in the fishery water of the Republic, unless with written authorization from the Commission, in consultation with the Water Resource Commission and the Wildlife Division of the Fisheries Commission. So, um, in this case, when you look at the whole section talks about how you go about in case you want to do it, probably be for scientific purpose and stuff. But apart from that, you're not supposed to catch endangered species. The question is, this is not new. This part of the law was in the old one, but I think it's been made a bit clearer here. When you look at it and you look at what is happening currently, when you go to Disco, some areas, other areas in the western region, dolphins, and even some places where you don't expect them to be landing, rays and turtles and all those kind of things. It is something that is happening. It is good. We have promulgated this beautiful law. It is good, but enforcement, that is something that runs through all the my series in terms of this podcast, because you tend to see that we have the law, but people are. Recently, I saw a video where dolphins, people have caught them, and what they were doing to them. Just don't want to see it in this podcast. And it's something that is very common along the coast of Ghana. There is a paper, I think, by one professor, I think Professor Ofori Danson, where they talk about, and also, um, 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 yeah, I think Dr. Deborah or Mr. Deborah, where they've done a lot of work in terms of in this area where they talk about, people con they are continue or they continue to catch these species, these endangered species. Ghanaian fish, especially with the artisanal fishers, they tend to catch some of these. It's also because of the use of some of these animals for uh, as local delicacy, which is also pushing some of this agenda. So it's good to have it in the law, but implementation, there's fine. There's also fine for those who um, end up catching endangered species and that kind of stuff. When you read the same 45 clause 5, the penalty that is associated with it says that a person who contravenes subsection 1 to 1 3 or 4 commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction of to a fine of not less than 1,000 penalty unit and not more than 10,000 penalty unit in the case of an inland artisanal fishing vessel or a marine fishing vessel or semi-industrial fishing. For even industrial is still thing. But you see, this problem still persists because most of these fishermen are still using nets that are not, and they fish around areas where they think that there are a lot of dolphins, and because in those areas tend to have other fish species, and then they end up catching them. And when they bring them, there is also market for them. There is something called kako and those kind of things, that salted fish that people use for stew and soup, which is also driving some of these things. The next thing that I would like to talk about is the protection of gravid, juvenile, and juvenile lobsters and other juvenile fish. This is also in the old law. It is something that probably mean they have probably added something to it. I don't know, but it's the same thing in the old law. It has never been implemented. So me seeing this is in section 46. Clause 1 of it says a person shall not, during fishing, take gravid and juvenile lobsters, gravid and juvenile mollusks, juvenile fish, or any other fish species as may be determined by the commission. There is size regulation, there is mesh regulation, and all this, and they have been there with the other law, the other Fisheries Act, but implementation is zero. Implementation is zero. There's still a fine, the 1,000 penalty, not more than 10,000 penalty unit. It's something that is there. In a country where people eat the smallest of fish, this law, and even you've seen it, you go to the market, or even when you go to the landing key, you see the size of fish that fishermen are landing. They are very small, minute, very small fishes. And you could see some are gravid, there are a lot of eggs in them, but still they catch them. So I'm wondering how they are going to implement it, because for over the years, implementation of this uh, section in their previous law was non-existent, and it was a common sight when you go to the landing key to see um, juvenile fish, gravid fish, just like seeing the ray, seeing sharks, you can see hammerhead, you can see dolphins and porpoises, and uh, all sorts of aquatic organisms that are protected and endangered, are even on the IUCN list, red list. They still land them. So I'm just wondering. The law is very good. It's a very beautiful law. It has been in the old law, but the problem has to do with implementation, and it's something that I keep on hammering in all my podcasts when it comes to some of these things. I'd like to end it here, and thank you for your attention.